Hello and welcome to my channel. Did you know that cyanotype has been around for well over a century and it's had a massive impact on the evolution of photography? So in today's video we're going to be looking at cyanotype and nature print paper, and both of them have very unique characteristics. They both provide you with stunning images, but there is a dilemma that people have. It's like, which one is the best for me? Which one is the most creative? Which one is the quickest? Which is the easiest? So today's video is going to handle that. Your decision about whether you use cyanotype or you use nature print paper depends on what you want to use it for. Now, cyanotype is really good on all different kinds of surfaces, whereas nature print paper is just paper. All right, let's break it down. Cyanotype is a very, very old technique, over 100, nearly 200 years old, and it is using two chemicals that are mixed together. Potassium ferric cyanide, kind of an iron solution, and it's very sticky because I've been using it, and this one is ferric ammonium citrate. So you put these together and it makes a light sensitive solution, which can then be painted onto a variety of materials, exposed to UV light, and making a print on the surface that you have coated. When the cyanotype solution is exposed to UV light, particularly bright sunlight, like today, I'm very lucky that today is very sunny, it makes the most deep Prussian blue. So which method offers the best results? Well, that entirely depends on what you want to use it for. So if you're out in nature and you want to capture some nature, it's not easy to get out the cyanotype, start mixing it and exposing it to the sun. Maybe nature print paper is the way to go for that, and stick it straight into your sketchbook. So here's what you need to do cyanotype. You need the two chemicals which come in a kit from Jacquard. You will need a sponge brush and a cup. I also use a really old tray for mine, just in case it drips everywhere. It will stain everywhere, so just be aware of that. You'll need good quality watercolour paper for cyanotype, but for nature print paper, all you need is the nature print paper and water. For both of them, you're going to need access to a sink and a tap, particularly running water for the cyanotype. To make the prints, you're going to need some interesting objects such as leaves. Often I use stencils. You can use junk materials that have an interesting texture. Things that will let light through are the best. Also, you're going to need a clipboard to arrange the paper on and put all your materials on top of. And then you'll need some kind of clear plastic or PVC where you can trap the materials so that they don't blow around or move around while they're being exposed to the UV light. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up part A and B, and it's equal amounts. I'm going to spread it all over with my sponge brush. The reason I'm not starting is because time is of the essence. Usually I would do this at night, but for demonstration purposes I'm showing you in the day. It's not perfect conditions for cyanotype. Cyanotype is a light sensitive process, so it is best to do it without any UV around, but we're just working with what we have. So I'm going to paste this on here when I've made the mixture, which will activate when you mix the two together, but I need to let it dry to do a fair test. We're going to do dry cyanotype because then that'll be a fair test with the nature paper. So we're going to dry it in the dark. So I have a dark cupboard over there, so I'm going to take this and put it in the cupboard immediately, let it dry for a bit, and then we'll do the process later. So I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it a little shake. It's been sitting in my cupboard for a little while. So it's just equal parts of A and B. Naturally occurring chemicals, so it's Not unsafe, but it will dye your fingers, so please be careful. One, I'm going to do two maybe. And it's already oxidizing, I can see it because of the light, so I'm going to have to move really fast. One, two, okay, right, we're going to move really fast. Mix it round, give it a mix, paint it on. It's a green mixture, and it's what we want. Means it's fresh and ready. Now I could start cyanotyping right now, and I might show you that later, but at the moment that's done. I'm going to put it in the dark, and I'm going to cover this up now. Make sure no light gets in, because otherwise the mixture will be spoiled. So that's now light tight. There we go, we'll be back. Okay, it happened that my landlord was actually here doing some gardening, so he helped me get some of these momiji leaves, these maple leaves. Arigatou. すごい長い。いや、はい。すごい。いやー、来ますよ。うわっ。あとは？もうちょっといる？どっちでも選んでください。すごいね。長いの。いやー、インカミング。ありがとう。どうも。So I'm going to use these as well, here and there. And just see if I can get an image. The best thing is to get these so that they lie really flat, so to trim off any of the stalks. You see, the stalks will make it stand up and not give a good shape. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so I think we'll leave it at that. So I'm all planned, I know what's going where. I've got my perspex ready. It's a sunny day, so I'm ready. It is going to be very time sensitive, so I have to work really fast. So when you open the packet, it already has the dark photographic envelope inside, and there's also a piece of PVC, which we're not going to use, like a clear acrylic, because I already have one. So to keep the test fair, that's what we're going to do. So let's just do this first, and then we'll time 1 minute. Let me put it outside. Okay, I'm trying not to expose it to sunlight. I have used this before in my previous life as a teacher, so I'm familiar with it. Blue side up. I've got all my stuff ready, so let's put it on quickly. Some bubble wrap. We've got the leaf, and I'm going to do the mesh there, and then I'm going to put the clipboard on top like this. It's moving a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, right. And then just to be sure, I'm going to put some extra clips on, and then we're going to time 1 minute in the direct sunshine. We're going to put some water here. It says to soak it in water for 1 minute. I'm going to take this off. Clips off. Okay, I can already see it's worked a little bit. Can you see a little bit? Let's put it in the water for 1 minute. Sorry about the noise outside. We've got some building happening next door. I believe that is the time up. I'm going to leave it on there to dry. Okay, so that was the first one. It's now drying. That was exposed to 1 minute. Now I'm going to expose this to 2 minutes. We'll see if there's any difference. Here we go. This one I'm just going to do leaves. Always make sure to seal this up so that it's completely light fast. Here we go. Put these leaves on. And then I'm going to put the perspex on. This underneath and trap it down, and then I'm going to time 2 minutes in the sun. These clips are better because they hold everything really flat. So let's put it in the sun for 2 minutes. Hey Google, time 2 minutes. Hey Google, stop. I'm going to take this out and rinse it in water and see what happens. I'm hoping it's going to be a darker colour this time. It's amazing. It's amazing already. It's going to go in. It's already good. Immediately you can see it changing. Okay, so it's pretty colour. It's a pretty colour. I'm going to dry it on here. I put it on this towel. Be nice and flat. And it is slightly darker, I think, than before, which was only this one is 1 minute and this is 2 minutes. So we'll do the same with the Cyanotype paper. I'm just going to go and check and see if it's dry. Okay, the Cyanotype paper is now pretty much dry, so we're going to do a 2 minute and a 1 minute exposure. So we'll start with the 2 minute one. So I'm going to get my stuff ready. So I've actually changed my mind a little bit about what I want to do. Okay, so we'll do the 2 minute one first, and it's facing down so that no light gets to it. I'm really hoping it's not been exposed already. And there we go, that's the dry paper. I'm going to put a couple of these shapes, some spots maybe, but it's already exposing. I can see it exposing already. Sadly, the sun just went in a little bit, so that could have an effect on the final result. I'm hoping it's going to come back out. If not, then we don't have a fair test. Okay, and the second one we're going to do 1 minute exposure. I have to move really fast because it is so, it's exposing right now. Maybe just like that. And then some bubble wrap on the edges, maybe torn bubble wrap. Okay, this one is going to be exposed for 1 minute and I'll be right back. Okay, sadly the sun went in the middle of all that. So this is the 2 minutes and this is still has another minute left. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Hey Google, thank you. I'll just give it a little bit longer. So as this was a fair test, I gave it the same amount of time, 1 minute and 2 minutes, and do you see what happened? Nothing. Barely nothing. So that is because Cyanotype needs a lot longer exposed to UV. So I'm going to do it the proper way and show you the colours we can get. And look, it's been about 2 minutes and it's already completely blue. So I think the UV just wasn't strong enough before, but I'm going to give it a few more minutes, being careful not to overexpose it. This is about 3 minutes. Going to keep it a bit longer. We're back in the studio now. It's been about 5 minutes and the sun is really strong out there. This is very hot now. So that's another reason why I don't tend to do wet cyanotype, because the sun can make it sweat if it's a bit wet. So I try not to do it wet as much as possible. If I can be patient enough to wait for it to dry, I will. We're going to take this off and we're going to expose it to the water. And you can probably see now, when I take them off, how much different that is after having some direct light. Oh, that one didn't work so well. It's interesting. So I'm going to wash this off. Ah, okay, it did work. You can see how much better that is. So I'm going to keep washing it until the yellow tone disappears. You have to be very careful not to damage the paper, because obviously wet paper is really fragile. So very gentle tap. Make sure it's all off. And no rubbing, because that will just ruin the surface of the paper. Just be patient to get it all off. There's a little bit of yellow here, but it doesn't seem to want to come off. I'm just conscious I don't want to wreck the paper. There's a bit of yellow around the side as well. So without rubbing it, I'm just going to let the water gently take it off. And there we go. When it's just come from the sun and being washed in water, and we'll come back in an hour or so when this is dry. This kind of paper takes quite a while to dry because it's watercolour paper. You should use really good quality watercolour paper. You can see why now, because you do need to wash it for quite a while. I'm just going to dab it a little bit and see if it will dry any quicker. Okay, I'll be back soon to do the final reveal. Okay, all the samples are now dry. As you can see, this is the 1 minute exposure one, and it wasn't that successful. You can make out the shapes and you can see the texture of the lace. One thing I will say about this process is it is really clean and really easy to do. There's no cleanup at all. The paper is really thin though, so just be aware if you need to use it for different projects, it might not work. So the one that was 2 minutes obviously came out a lot darker. I'm quite happy with the definition on this one. I'm wondering if you left it even longer that it would go even more of a Prussian blue. I might try that in another video. Next up is the cyanotype that I did at the beginning, and look at that, nothing. When it dried, there was absolutely nothing left. So 1 minute and 2 minutes, it just isn't long enough exposure time for that. However, when I tried it again and did it in the exact same way, but I just exposed it for 5 minutes instead, it worked absolutely perfectly. Look how clear and crisp that is. It's on a really thick paper, which will be very useful for making cards. The only thing I will say about this is the chemicals do seep to the back of the paper, so you just have to be aware if you want to make cards out of it, you have to cover that somehow. And now for the results. I gave for cleanup three hearts to nature print paper because it's so easy to manage. It's so easy to clean up. In fact, there really isn't any cleanup. Cyanotype, on the other hand, is a bit messy. I got it in my nails and I'm still picking it out a couple of days later. In terms of price, I would say they're pretty well matched, but nature print paper has a very low initial price at the beginning, whereas Cyanotype costs a little bit more, but you can probably get more sheets out of it in the long run. In terms of creativity and adaptability, so using it on different surfaces, for example, I gave nature print paper a 0 because you can only use the paper, whereas Cyanotype you can use any surface you like, and you can also make any line that you like. For the colour, I gave nature print paper a 1. It might have just been my kit, it might have just been the UV on the day, I don't really know, but definitely the second Cyanotype that I did had the best and the richest colour. In terms of safety, nature print paper is perfect to use with children, and also for a quick project and a quick fix, it's great. If you want to get creative and more artistic, then go with Cyanotype. It does look like I'm sitting on the fence when you see the final result, but I think that nature print paper is a great thing to use if you need very quick craft fix, and Cyanotype is for the more serious moments when you feel more artistic. If you want to cyanotype on things like driftwood or rocks or other materials, then you can't use nature paper. So it is limited in that way. Nature print paper is also really safe to use around children, so I often used it in my classrooms. It's an instant activity, instant results for the kids. They love it. They only have to wait a few minutes to see the results. Whereas Cyanotype is a little bit of a slower process because you have to wait for some drying time, and also you have to expose it quickly to the sun once it's been coated on the paper. So here are some of the products that I have in my Cyan collection, and as you can see, I cyanotyped one of the leaves from the tree to make a pin, and it's on cotton, so it really cyanotypes super well on fabric. You can't do this with nature paper, only with fabric. So I've also cyanotyped on silk and it works really well. Also, this neck piece is cyanotyped in 2 ways. This one is fabric and this one is paper and then gel printed on top. But again, it's the Normiji leaf. This neck piece. And then there's one more neck piece. I did this one with a piece of fern from the studio garden and some branches, and also cyanotype and gel printed leaf. And also I even made some earrings. These are not cyanotype, they're printed, but these are cyanotype paper with gel printing on top, so kind of a mixed media. So now I want to hear from you. Have you ever tried Cyanotype? Have you ever tried nature print paper? Have you tried both? Which did you think was the best? What did you use them for? Do you have some results you can share with us? Please comment below and let us know. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.